Okay, now today I've got another whiskey review for you, and that is Jura. It's the entry level, basic level Jura, called Jura Bourbon cask. There's an ice cream man putting his bells in my video, destroying my carefully constructed soundtrack. Now I poured myself a glass of this Jura. Now this is a budget whiskey. It's a single malt, but it comes in at the lower end of the market. I think I paid about £26 for this bottle. The Jura do various expressions. They've got more expensive whiskies. They've got whiskies with age statements. This is a no age statement. This is 40% ABV. A lot of the Juras have got an higher ABV. There are Juras with 46% ABV and even higher. But this, as I say, is a standard 40% ABV, no age statement. And it's towards the budget end of the market, but that doesn't mean it's bad. I was recently reading an article in one of the newspapers over here in the UK, I think it was The Guardian, and they were talking, on the weekend the newspapers have a glossy magazine, and there was a feature in there on wine and whiskey appreciation. And what the article was saying, and this is backed up by scientific fact, that studies were done and people were given tastings of wines and whiskies and various spirits, and they were told the whiskey or the wine or the spirit they were drinking was far more expensive than what it was. And people, if they thought they were drinking a far more expensive drink, they seemed to enjoy it more. They seemed to get more from it. And that's what happens, and that's what a lot of whiskey snobbery is about. And if you go on a lot of the forums online, whiskey forums, you will see Jura is constantly made a joke of, and it's constantly belittled, but it certainly doesn't believe that. So before we get into the tasting and the nosing, let me tell you a little bit about the Jura distillery. And
Jura's whisky history is marked by periods of closure and rebirth, with its modern identity largely shaped by a 1960s revival. Founded in 1810 by Archibald Campbell, the distillery initially produced peaty whisky, but faced closure in the early 20th century. Two local landowners then, with the help of a blender and a distillery designer, spearheaded its reconstruction in the 1960s, creating the Jura distillery that exists today. Now, the early days of Jura, between 1810 and 1901, the first legal distillery on Jura was established in 1810 by Archibald Campbell. The distillery was originally called Small Isles and later Craighouse. It produced a peaty whisky, but it closed in 1901 due to economic hardship and the Patterson crash, which of course significantly affected the entire whisky market. It was the rebirth came in the 1960s when landowners Robert Fletcher and Tom Riley Smith, recognizing the needs to revitalize the island's economy, led the initiative to rebuild the distillery. They were joined by Charles McKinley & Co. and distillery designer William Delmer Evans. The distillery was rebuilt and expanded, opening its doors in 1963. Now, post-revival, so that's from 1963 to the present day, the rebuilt distillery employed a significant portion of the small island's male population. It restarted production in 1974 and began selling single malt whisky, with the distillery expanded further in 1978. Over the years, Jura has seen many ownership changes, including Ivor Gordon Distillers and later White & Mackay. In 2018, the distillery underwent a major revamp and launched a new range of whisky. Jura these days is known for its diverse range of single malts and experimenting with various types of casks for maturation. So I'll give you a quick timeline here. 1810, Archibald Campbell founded the Small Isles Distillery on Jura. In 1901, Small Isle Distillery closed. In 1963, the new Isle of Jura Distillery went into production. In 1974, the first Isle of Jura single malt was released, and in 1994, White & Mackay acquired the distillery. In 2002, Jura launches Superstition, and as they say, the rest is history. But in 2009, Jura released its first peated malt that was called Prophecy. In 2018, the Isle of Jura is relaunched, and in 2019, Say Hello to Jura campaign was released.
to the nose. There's not much ethanol burn here, which you usually find with the cheaper single malts. You usually get that ethanol aroma. And I am getting some pear. Some pear and some fruit. Now that's the thing about nosing whiskey, the same as tasting whiskey, it's all subjective. And the way to nose a whiskey, always leave your mouth a little open. Take the whiskey to your nose, taking a sniff. As I say, always allow the mouth open a little bit, because that allows the aromas to drift around your sinuses to do its stuff. And it's not as if you're going to stick it to your nose and go, chocolate, caramel, nutmeg. You're not actually picking up those distinct aromas. What you're doing is it's what it reminds you of. The aromas you're getting are what it reminds you of. And when I'm taking this to my nose, I'm getting pear. Maybe even peach. Now Jura do a lot of peated whiskies. This, though, is not peated. For its price point, it's a pretty decent single malt. It also comes in a nice handsome tube here. And on the tube it tells us that first of all you get a little picture of Jura Island, which we saw there in the video I just showed you, and it says, "Welcome to Jura. A few miles off the west coast of Scotland, a remote, wild, yet always beautiful Isle of Jura is home to around 200 islanders." And a lot of the male adult population of that island are actually employed by the Jura distillery, so it serves its island well. Bourbon cask. Experience the true character and style of our Jura single malt and its welcoming core with Jura Bourbon cask, matured in American white oak ex-bourbon casks. This whiskey shows a quintessential Jura whiskey character, bright and fruity, and perfectly welcoming malt to a range of Jura whiskies. Golden amber in colour, this is a fresh and fruity single malt. Aromas of vanilla and coconut are followed by apricot and coffee, creamy toffee on the palate with a touch of poached pear, cinnamon and coconut finish. Now I was definitely getting that pear, I was getting some fruit. I wasn't getting any vanilla, what I'm aware of. Not at the moment anyway. I'm going to take it to the palate now, so cheers, let's see what we get. You can taste that it's a youthful whiskey. Taste that. There is a touch of a burn on the finish. Deep down in my chest I'm getting a little bit of a burn. I think I'm getting that pear fruit flavour too, and yes, just the slightest hint of vanilla. It's decent. It's decent. It's a good whiskey. I mean, you got to take into account here the price point. You're not paying, 50, 60, 70, 80 pounds for this. You're not even paying 30 pounds for this. It's less than 30 pounds. It's a single malt, okay, it's a young single malt, but, youth can sometimes have its advantages. Let's give it a little bit of water to open it up a bit, just a touch of water, which you wouldn't expect it to be at this price anyway. It's just a touch of water. Allow the water to do its thing. Now, as I say, Jura is much maligned in certain whiskey forums online, and it certainly doesn't deserve that. It's a decent enough whiskey. Some of the co-expressions, the more expensive Juras, although Jura doesn't do really expensive, but more expensive than this, the more expensive Juras are absolutely superb. There's nothing wrong with this, and I will review some other excuse me, Jura expressions in the future. Here comes Pixie. It's my wife's new puppy, cross between a Dachshund and a Chihuahua. She's tiny. Look, you're on candid camera. So, the water's done its thing now. Let's take it back to the nose and see what we get. The water has certainly improved it. Now I'm getting more of a vanilla and some caramel, some toffee. On the nose it was bright, citrusy. quite fruity. It's delicious. I mean, what can you say? You know, if you're going to pay 20 odd pound for a single malt, what can you expect? Well, I tell you what you can expect, and what you should expect is a good tasting, enjoyable whiskey, and that's what Jura is. You can't go wrong with that, can you? This is not an high-end single malt by any stretch of the imagination, but nor does it pretend to be. This could be drunk equally well as a mixer. It could be drunk over ice, which is what I tend to do anyway, but even straight like this, neat. Without water, it's perfectly palatable, but with a little water, it does open up, and you do get a little bit more from it. It's a pretty decent whiskey. So that's Jura Bourbon cask, an entry-level whiskey from the Jura distillery. Cheers. Cheers. Solange. Yaki da. Don't forget to subscribe. Give us a big, thick thumbs up, and why not leave a comment? Have you drunk Jura? Did you love it? Do you hate it? Cheers. Solange. Yaki da. See you soon.